Welcome to the Planning for Life podcast with certified financial planner professional Russell Jacobs and financial life advisor Carl Coolidge. Carl and Russell will share creative strategies and ideas for overcoming challenges in your personal and financial life. Inevitably, life happens, and we will empower you to reach your destination. Thanks for joining us. Now, on to the show.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Planning for Life podcast. Today, we're going to talk to Russell Jacobs. Here's the thing. We're living in a very intense time, both personally and financially. We thought it would be good for Russell to break down what we're referring to as the 5 action items that you should take both personally and professionally to make sure your house is in order and that you can weather these times as well as you possibly can. So, Russell, let's walk through those 5 action items.
All right, Matt. I'm looking forward to it. So the first thing, an item that most Americans are familiar with is number 1 is about debt. Most Americans have debt either with their home, their car, their credit cards, student loans, or all of the above. So the first thing in light of all the changes that have been going on in our economy is to review your debt, because it can really be an opportunity to put yourself in a more advantageous situation, because interest rates, because of the Fed actions and just the lack of demand due to this shutdown, have caused banks to reduce their rates, credit cards, student loans, across the board. You want to look at what you owe and do what you can to tackle that debt first and foremost. So create an action plan for that, then take action. The second item is analyze your cash flow, because clearly what comes in then goes out, and you have to kind of understand the dynamic of your expenses to really get a handle on any kind of planning. But certainly if you're working and salary is reduced or hours are reduced or you're completely furloughed or laid off, you have to make every dollar count. And the first way to do that is to prioritize what's a want versus a need versus a dream to have it. And Americans have a problem with differentiating the difference between I want it versus I need it, because you're really focused on essentials. And I'm not talking about toilet paper. Everybody seems to be buying up all the toilet paper still. But understand your cash flow. And that's integrated with number 1, really, because debt and cash flow really go hand in hand. The third thing is rebalancing and adjusting your portfolios. Certainly when we have market vacillations, we had pronounced downs through March. We've had some nice recovery in the market, but what you don't want to do is panic and sell. You want to stick with your long-term objective. But if you were in a portfolio of a certain percentage, be it 60-40, 70-30, meaning stocks to bonds, movements in the market adjust those percentages, and you want to rebalance to your proper asset allocation. And we do that for our clients. But if you're just listening to this podcast and you do things on your own, just approach it with a balanced head. Don't do it from a panic mode. And by doing that, just simply by rebalancing your portfolio, your cooler head is prevailing, and you're taking advantage of the market volatility, both when it's going down and when it's going up. The fourth thing is look for new opportunities. I mean, every time you have a downturn, one person's struggle is another person's opportunity. So if you put your basic financial building blocks in place the right way, you have what we call dry powder, which means cash reserves or access to capital. It could create the opportunity that you've been looking for. And that could be a business opportunity, or my partner Carl and I were talking earlier that it's very likely going to be a good time to buy a car when we begin to quote unquote normalize, which is a term that's being bantered around, because no one's buying cars right now. Really, they're not producing, but there's this backlog of inventory and dealers are going to want to move them. So whatever it is, if you're not just doing some sort of whim purchase without some strategy, just look at what your needs are and there's going to be opportunity that you can take advantage of. And then the fifth and very important item is review your risk management plan. And risk management involves insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance, also properties and casualties for your cars and homes and things like that. But it also involves your risk tolerance from an investment perspective. We see over and over people trying to tell us that they're aggressive investors. But when you have something like happened in March, where the market drops down rapidly by 30%, you truly do find out who is an aggressive investor and who isn't. Same thing happened in 2007 through 9. Take the time to really understand your risk tolerance, invest accordingly, and then stick with that risk plan. And then make sure you have appropriate amounts of life and disability insurance, so that, the only thing worse than having your accounts go down is if you were to die or get disabled. On top of that, we have personal friends who, in the midst of this COVID crisis, their house burned down completely to the ground, and they only got out with the clothes they were wearing. Life and the other things that happen in life don't just stop because we're having a virus crisis. So just make sure you understand your capital needs from a risk management standpoint and your risk tolerance standpoint from an investment perspective. And those are the 5 things, Matt. If you have any questions or want me to clarify any points, please.
No, I just want you to communicate how people can reach out to you, because this is the time for action, not just with social distancing and all of the different pieces that we're experiencing with the self-quarantining, self-isolation, but this is a time for you to take a look at this stuff. What is the best way for them to reach out to you?
The best way for us is to email us at rjacobs, Jacobs, at financialguide.com, or they can call me at the office at 912-265-2876. Carl and I are still working at the office. We will return your call. I can be reached via my LinkedIn profile as well. We do proactively reach back out to people that reach out to us. And the only other thing I would say is, these 5 things are important, but for you to maximize your effect on these 5 things, you really have to know what you want and when you want it, because it's putting it in that broader context that you can then deploy these 5 items. So if you're not sure what that is, or you want help figuring this out, please reach out to Carl and myself, and we would look forward to the opportunity of visiting with you.
Russell, thank you very much for walking us through this.
Thank you, Matt. Have a good day.
It is time to take action. It is time to make sure that your house is in order. Please reach out to Russell and Carl to set an appointment and make sure you have all your ducks in a row. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.
The content is developed from sources believed to be providing accurate information. The information in this material is not intended as tax or legal advice. Please consult legal or tax professionals for specific information regarding your individual situation. The opinions expressed and material provided are for general information and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. Russell C. Jacobs III, Carl B. Coolidge, James Jacobs, and William Schwartz are registered representatives of and offer securities, investment advisory, and financial planning services through MML Investor Services, LLC, member SIPC, Supervisory Office, Jacksonville, Florida. Jacobs, Coolidge & Company, LLC is not a subsidiary or affiliate of MML Investor Services, LLC, or its affiliated companies.